Welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Laura and this are my three sons, Caleb, Levi, and Jacob. And today we want to make chocolate zucchini loaf. This is one of our favorites. I think probably because it's very moist because of the zucchini. We are kind of in the middle of summertime and there's lots of zucchini anywhere and everywhere, I should say. Zucchini is one of those things that when you grow it, you've got it in abundance. So this is a perfect recipe if you've got zucchini in your backyard. We're going to grate the zucchini. This recipe that I'm going to show you today actually makes 2 loaves, and that's because it takes about the same amount of time to make 2 as it does 1. This zucchini loaf freezes very well, so you may as well do the work once, throw 1 in the freezer, and you're good to go. So we're just going to take the tops off, and then Caleb's going to get to work. I washed it already, so we don't have to peel it, we can just grate it. We are looking for 3 cups of grated zucchini for our 2 zucchini loaves. So when the boys can just dump it in here, and when we get to 3 cups, we'll stop. That's usually about 2 medium-sized zucchini. So while they're doing that, we are gonna make what I call Snow White topping, and that is just butter, sugar, and flour mix that we will sprinkle on top of the loaf. So I'm gonna get Jacob to help me with that. We need 1/2 cup of flour. Yeah. 1/2 cup of sugar and 1/4 cup of butter for this recipe. And while he does that, I'm gonna take the butter and just chop it into really small pieces. This is cold butter, right out of the fridge. And basically this is just a bit of a crumble topping for the top. This step is optional. You don't have to do this, but it really finishes the loaf well. You could do this with a fork, but I'll be honest, I am a baker at heart that uses hands. That should be about ready. You can just make sure that you have no big butter clumps in there. We will then set this aside and use this to top our loaves. It's perfect, absolutely perfect. Okay, now that we have our zucchini, 3 cups of zucchini done, we've got our Snow White topping done, we're gonna get the dry ingredients ready. So I've got 3 cups of flour, and then Caleb, you can put 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of soda. And 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Once Caleb has got that stuff on top, he can just give it a little stir with this and just make sure there's no big chunks of anything. So Jacob is going to crack 3 eggs. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 1 more. Good, perfect. Take that fork and mix it up. Levi, you can dump 1 cup of oil.
So the other chocolate.
1 cup of white sugar. 1/3 cup of brown sugar. 2 teaspoons of vanilla with the eggs. And then you can dump that into the sugar mixture, Jacob. Awesome. Okay, I'll take that bowl, Jacob. And now we're going to add our zucchini and our dry ingredients into this. Put about half the zucchini, or all of the zucchini. There we go, that's fine. Okay, and just let me give that a little stir. And then Levi, why don't you put the rest of that zucchini on top? Again, this is a super moist loaf, so it's not hard to stir by hand. 1 cup of chocolate chips in there. And then I'm gonna put 1/2 cup of walnuts, chopped walnuts in here. This is optional as well. Me and my husband have a constant discussion on whether nuts should be added in baking or not. But Nana trained me well. I like them in baking. So today they're going in. 1/2 cup of chopped walnuts. Okay, now they're ready to go in our pans. We can just pour this into our prepared pans, which are just lightly greased. And these are just 2 regular sized loaf pans. So we're just gonna divvy this up into 2. Just make sure they look about even, but I think it's pretty good. And then we're gonna generously top them with this Snow White topping. Again, the loaf is gonna rise quite a bit, so you can put a pretty decent amount on there and it'll spread out as it rises. We've got more than we need, and that's okay. This stuff freezes really well, so I just put it in a container and throw the extras in the freezer, and then you can top any of your muffins or baking of any kind with that stuff. Okay, so those are now ready to go in the oven, so I'm gonna pop them into a preheated oven at 350 for between 55 to 65 minutes. If your oven is a little bit hotter, you can maybe set your timer for 40 minutes and then turn them around. But it should take about an hour to cook. I'll just throw a couple of chocolate chips on the top for good measure. And into the oven, and I'll set my timer. Okay, it's been about 60 minutes, so I'm gonna check my loaves. Here they are. So they're puffed up really nicely, and then you want to just very carefully push it in like that. These loaves take a long time to cook, so when they look right, I'm going to double check them with a toothpick and just make sure that that toothpick comes out clean. That looks great. So I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to let them sit here for about 10 minutes just to cool down slightly, and then I'll take them out of the loaf pan. So here are my loaves out of the pan, and you can see they're really pretty. This Snow White topping really does take it to the next level. If you found this video helpful, press the like button and subscribe to more videos.